Hey folks, hope everyone is doing good today. I thought I'd shoot a little video about adventuring alone. This is not going to be a video about whether you should or shouldn't be hiking or backpacking alone or adventuring alone. I know a lot of people may get into some heated arguments about that, but this is just simply going to be about how you can hike or backpack alone, and maybe some tips and tricks, things that you should be thinking about if you are adventuring by yourself. So let's get into it. So number one, the first thing I'm gonna say is probably pretty obvious to most people, but always stay aware and cognizant of your surroundings. So I would highly suggest not using earbuds and listening to music. I know a lot of people, maybe they like to listen to music when they're out and about. I know that's kind of one of my pet peeves. You can't really hear what's going on around you if you get your earbuds in. If you do feel like you have to listen to music to, get you inspired while you're jogging or backpacking or something, then maybe just put one earbud in. That way you still have an ear that is kind of listening to its surroundings. So if something's funky is going on, you can hear it before it gets to you, if someone's approaching you or something like that. So either don't use earbuds, or if you have to, just use one. We've all been on the trail when we're jogging or hiking or something, and we come up on someone who's got their earbuds on and they're jamming to their music, and we're trying to let them know that we're coming up behind them so that they can maybe move out of the way. And they don't even hear you. You're like 2 feet away from them, and they don't even know you're right there. And you gotta yell to get them to know that you're there. Just don't be one of those people. I highly suggest that you always bring like an inReach, like a Garmin inReach device or a spot device. I just always throw it in my backpack, even for day hikes or runs, but definitely on long adventure trips, backpacking trips, any overnighter trips. It just gives you some peace of mind knowing that you can press a button if you need some help, because you never know out there. You could be as safe as possible, but things happen sometimes. And some of y'all might remember that story back in, I think it was 2013, where a thru hiker got lost on the Appalachian Trail, inchworm. So she got off trail to use the bathroom, and then she couldn't find her way back to the trail. Which could happen to anybody. Unfortunately, she did not have any sort of a locator beacon like a Garmin inReach or a spot device. And unfortunately nobody found her until like a year and a half later, something like that. So I always recommend that you carry a Garmin or a spot device, even if you're not solo adventuring, even if you're with other folks. So one of my big things with carrying a spot device or a Garmin inReach, even if you're with somebody else, being able to press that button in case of an emergency. Somebody's going to be notified if you're injured or lost or something. Even if you have a friend with you or something, pressing that little button is going to get you help a lot quicker than having your friend go run down to the trailhead. Who knows, it might be 10-15 miles away. Just because you have a friend with you doesn't mean that you are safe and you don't need to be carrying something like that. So I always recommend carrying one of those devices, because you hit that button, somebody's notified immediately instead of waiting for somebody to go run down to a trailhead, maybe have to drive somewhere because you don't have cell service in order to get help. For me, it's worth the cost of having one of those devices. Another suggestion I have, if you're not used to going on trips by yourself, but you really want to take a trip alone, backpacking or some kind of adventuring, maybe do some day trips or easy hikes by yourself with your gear, practice with your gear by yourself, just to give you some of that extra confidence that you do indeed know what you're doing and you're going to be okay by yourself. don't be afraid to take some little day trips with your gear and practice and get some more confidence. Take some day trips with your gear, get confident in yourself and confidence in your gear. Maybe set some stuff up in the backyard if you're not used to, say, setting up a tent by yourself or something like that. Don't be afraid to take some little day trips to get used to your gear and more confident. I also recommend carrying some pepper spray. You know, there's arguments about this as well, about whether you should carry a weapon or a gun or pepper spray or knife. My go-to is always to bring pepper spray and always have it extremely readily available. Don't put it in your backpack or somewhere hidden. I wouldn't even put it in a hip pouch where it's zippered up, because if you only have a split second to react, you're not going to want to have to unzip a pocket to try to get it out. So I always just keep it in my pocket right there where my hand can just slide in there and pull it right out. I also highly suggest that you know how to use it. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, but it's a good idea to know like what your pepper spray is going to do when you press that button and release all that spray. So what I would recommend is when you get pepper spray, go outside and just give it a little squirt to see kind of how it reacts and how the aim on it is. That way you know how to use it and you have a little more confidence in using it. One last note, I would suggest you always have the proper tools with you, including, you know, having the proper map, whether that's a paper map. You probably always should have a paper map with you, but also if you're kind of counting on also using your phone or GPS, or your phone as a GPS, always make sure that you have the maps and the information you need downloaded onto your phone, so that if you don't have phone service, you're still going to have access to those maps on your phone. You know, don't leave your house thinking you're good to go because you get your phone. Make sure you download any of those maps or GPS data that you're going to need while you're out on the trail. Download that stuff. Another point I'd like to make is even though, you know, maybe your mind might play tricks on you and you get scared, and obviously you don't want to let that affect your hike. Don't let your mind run away. But also, still, use your intuition. Like, if you have a bad feeling about something, you should probably listen to that, especially if you're like an experienced hiker. But I mean, usually intuition can tell you a lot about somebody. If you know, maybe you run into somebody on the trail and it just kind of seems weird, the situation seems weird and you just kind of don't feel right about it, listen to that and, you know, maybe just keep hiking and just get away from that situation. Also, always make sure before you leave on a trip, make sure somebody knows what you're up to. In case for some reason you don't return, at least one person in the world will know what your plans are. Make sure those people also know what to do if you don't show up by a certain time. Let them know when you plan on being back, and maybe set up a plan that, hey, if I don't text you by Monday night, please call the authorities. So that's also very important. Well, folks, I hope that has been helpful. That is it for me today. Keep your fears in perspective. That's not to say don't ever be afraid, because I get scared out there sometimes too when I'm adventuring. Just keep them in check, and, you know, make sure it's not just your mind playing tricks with you. Always make sure you get the right tools with you. Always paying attention to your surroundings. Don't listen to music, and if you are, just have one earbud in. And make sure you got a spot unit or a Garmin inReach with you. That's important to me. I know some people don't carry one, but I highly suggest it. Till next time, happy adventuring! If you have any tips for folks wanting to adventure alone, please leave them in the comments below, and please remember to be respectful.